We head to Nyeri, where in a continued focus on revamping the economy post the pandemic, today we focus on the tourism and hospitality sector. And our reporter Ibrahim Karanja is speaking to hoteliers in Nyeri as he actually breaks down how the state of tourism has been not only in the county but in the larger central region. Ibrahim Karanja, good morning. Can you paint for us a picture how tourism in Nyeri County is as we speak?
Well, good morning, Brenda. Tourism in the region has for long depended on the what you can call the catchment areas. We're talking about Mount Kenya. Remember, Mount Kenya can best be accessed through Nyeri, Laikipia, Meru, Embu, or Tharaka Nithi or Kirinyaga. These are the counties that border Mount Kenya, and they've got very many entrances all around. But for so long, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, we haven't seen lots of tourists coming to this particular place. Remember, in Nyeri in particular, there is also the Aberdare, there are the Mau Mau caves and so many other catchment areas within this particular region, not to even mention the sites within Murang'a County, Kirinyaga County, and others. But what we have seen so far after the economy reopened is that only one county, and this is Laikipia, has put away a roadmap of revamping the tourism sector. Remember last week there was that Twende Nanyuki campaign, which still continues. We have seen them partnering with other agencies such as the Kenya Railways to just have people come to Laikipia County and visit the different tourist destinations. But here in Nyeri, how are things? I am speaking to Janet Koskei, who is the operations manager at the White Rhino Hotel, a very this is a person in the tourism and hospitality sector, and she'll paint a picture for us on how it has been the past 6 months and what they think, or what they are doing to revamp the sector. Thank you so much, Janet, for speaking to us on KTN News. Kindly come closer and tell us, you guys even closed down at some point since March, I believe. And I believe that was quite a hit in the sector. How are things right now? And you can paint a picture for us of how things were for the 6 months.
Okay, thank you for this interview this morning. For the last 6 months, that was between March and August, we had to close down operations because there was no business at all. So we had to send the staff home, and it was not until late July that we began the plans to now open the hotel. And it was not also a very easy exercise because we had to have all the staff tested. We had to have the premises sanitized, a very expensive exercise. But at the end of it all, we were able to open up our doors in August. And slowly business is coming up, but at the rate at which it is coming in is very slow. That basically means that we will not be able to get back to business as usual. A lot of things have changed because we were used, usually this is our busiest time, October through to December. We have the tourists, we have the leisure market, but of course things have completely changed, and we have to look at hospitality and tourism in a different way, even from the way we handle our clientele. So we believe things will get better, but the only thing at this point is we are not too sure when. So even our projections, yes, we do them, but then we have to be very careful with the fact that we will not be able to predict, let's say in another month, we should be able to have X amount of business and therefore recall more of the staff, because now we are doing 50% in terms of staff, in terms of even the places that are open. But the places that are open, like the restaurants, we have a few conferences going on, and then we also have families coming in. Gradually they are coming in. So basically that gives you a picture that yes, there is a lot of work to be done, but it's a gradual process.
It is a gradual process to do the lots of work that has to be done.
Yes.
But you have said that you actually had a hit. Is it something that you can quantify in terms of having been away and the expenses of coming back to business? I believe there were licenses and all that. Kindly paint a picture for our viewer to understand where you guys are coming from.
Okay. When we opened, of course, early in the year, we had already done our licenses, what is required by the county government to be able to run business. And those were already paid up. But then here is another expense you never foresaw coming. And now, come July, you cannot go to work if you've not tested your staff. A minimum of 3,000 shillings per staff. You're talking about 50, for example, staff. Yeah? And then you're looking at the permit to be able to get the permit, getting new supplies. And all that has been very expensive. And mark you, while we were closed, the premises had to be maintained. The lifts have to run, the rooms have to be kept clean. Security, of course, has to be revamped because you don't have a lot of people within the premises. So you are starting, at this point in time when you're doing the business, it means now we are starting from a negative point, and yet so much is demanded by the county government or, the authorities to be able to do. So it's an expensive thing.
It is an expensive thing. Janet, from where you sit, what do you think should be the strategy to revive the tourism sector in the region and also in the country at large, having been in the sector for quite some time?
I think one of the things we should really put in place and really follow up through is that partnership between the stakeholders, the government, the national government, of course, through the county government, so that we engage and we really see what is it that we can do to make things different. Because the truth is, everyone is affected. When we go back to our national, to our county government, we expect certain things from them. We expect them to, for example, waive the costs of maybe the permits that we must be able to do. But then you realize they also didn't collect revenue. So it's a really catch-22 situation. But I think what there is to work more closely with the stakeholders, the businesses, like the hotels. We are very open to listen and come up with solutions that will definitely give us a way forward, because tourism is a key component of business in this region.
As we wind up, maybe my last question would be, what was your clientele before COVID and how has it been affected? I remember before we went on air, you were telling me that beginning of the year you'd have, say, market people coming from China here. Tell us about your clientele across the spread throughout the year, and how have they been affected now?
Okay, we are basically a business hotel, but we also cater for the leisure market, both the tourists, local and international. So, for example, between the months of January through to March, you usually have the Chinese market during the Chinese holiday season. And they come in very good numbers because they stay with us and then they go to the northern circuit to see wildlife like Samburu and all these other places. But this particular year, we have not been able to get that business. Now, for the local market, it spreads throughout. Mostly weekends, people have family functions, or people just come to Nyeri to unwind for the weekend. Those numbers have really gone down. But they are beginning to come up, but not at the pace, the rate at which we had expected. We also have business travelers, we have corporate clientele who come to do business in Nyeri, and we offer them accommodation and other services. So those particular clientele were completely not there. It is now getting better, but we are a hotel that is open for a different kind of business, and we are actually working very hard to make sure that we are finally able to cater for that market, or the markets we have.
Thank you so much. Well, that is Janet Koskei, the operations manager at the White Rhino Hotel, giving us a brief scope of how the tourism and hospitality industry looks like in Nyeri and the larger central Kenya region. She says that their projection is that it might take so long before they go back to where they are. They say they cannot predict that by next month they'll have all their employees coming to work, because right now, as she says, 50% only is at work. But that is what is happening. Remember, all the counties in the region should, like she says, should participate in revamping the economy. But like I said earlier, so far we have seen Laikipia County doing this through the Twende Nanyuki campaign, but we are yet to see this coming up from other counties. Brenda.
Ibrahim Karanja, thank you so much for that in-depth interview with our hotelier in Nyeri County. Now back to matters politics, and Raila Odinga led Orange Democratic Movement Party is holding its nominations today ahead of the upcoming Msambweni constituency mini polls. ODM announced that the newly inaugurated National Elections Board, under the leadership of Catherine Moma, had already put in place everything in place. Now, two parliamentary seat aspirants, that's Omar Eid Boga and engineer Nicholas Zani, will